Okay. Are we live? I think we might be live. Is this working? Is it working? Is it working? Nobody's watching, so let's see what happens. Oh, I think we're live. Yep. We are all good, and there's sound, so people can hear me. Amazing. All right, let's sort this out. Let's get going. There we go. So, hi, welcome. It's the Sorenzo Props show, season 1, episode 1. We've already had the pilot. That was a bit of a disaster. My laptop at home wasn't working. No sound, so I think we've got sound now, and I think we've got video, so you can see me. But yeah, this is Sorenzo Props show. I'm hoping to make this a bit of a weekly occurrence. Maybe fortnightly. I'll see how things go. Not really decided yet. We're doing it today, but I might not do it every Thursday. I might do it on different days. I don't know. There's a lot to be decided yet, so we'll see how it goes. The plan is to have this as a sort of informal questions and answers type session, because I get a lot of emails, a lot of Facebook messages. People ask me quite specific questions about various things that I do. And quite often I don't have a lot of time to respond to people and give them in-depth answers as to what products I use and how I go about preparing stuff. So doing something like this might be an easier way for people to get the information that they require. I hope that I can get some guests on at some point. And maybe not get such superstars as the likes of Bill Duran over at Punish Props is used to, but I know that Bill said that we could do a show together, so I think I may hold him to that at some point. But yeah, I would like to get other people involved so that we can sort of share our experiences in the prop and costuming world. But we'll have to see how this one goes. Not sure if anybody's going to tune in or watch it, so fingers crossed that you all pay attention. So today's show, I was planning on just doing an introduction to how I personally got involved in the world of props and costuming. A little bit in depth to my past and what happened leading up to me actually taking the plunge and making this my full-time career, which I still think was one of the stupidest things I ever done, but I'll explain more about that later. I've asked for people to give me some questions. Some people have already left questions on the Q&A app here on the Google Hangout page, and also on Facebook. So if you have a question, you happen to be watching, please feel free to leave a question. Hopefully I'll get a chance to answer it. So yeah, how did it all start out with me? I always loved making stuff. Ever since I was a child, I was always very imaginative and creative. I loved Lego. I never followed the instructions. Well, I followed the instructions once and then realized that was rubbish and try and make something even better. So always sort of, coloring outside the lines. I lived in the countryside, so we had a wilderness to run around in, and I was always using my imagination, building forts and playing army, making weapons out of pieces of sticks. And I remember once I modded a super soaker after watching the Aliens movie to make it look like Ripley's pulse rifle taped to a flamethrower. So that was quite a lot of fun. Being kind of creative, I for some reason decided to study architecture, which looking back made absolutely no sense. But yeah, when I was like 18, 19, I moved to Scotland to study architecture. I did 1 year of architecture at university level. I had a lot of fun. I drank a lot. I partied a lot. I did really well in all my presentations and finished quite well up in the year. But I felt that I was a little bit too young and wild to continue on with university, so I decided to go traveling. And I went to Australia and traveled around there for quite a while. had some fun, made my way back to Ireland/Scotland, and for various reasons, I didn't actually get back to university until, I think maybe 2 or 3 years out. So I was away for quite a while. When I got back to uni the second time around, I absolutely hated it. Architecture first year was all about being expressive, being creative, and be wild and crazy ideas. Your building can be as tall as you want, have slides for fire eggs. It's just do whatever you feel like, and that really appealed to me. In second year, it was all rules, regulations, formulas, statistics, adhering to legislation. It was dull. It was creativity confined, and I just felt so demoralized by it. My third year I did really poorly. I didn't enjoy it at all. And as part of the education system here in Scotland, after your third year of university, you're supposed to go into professional work placement and get some on-the-job experience. The same time that this happened, I was due to go on my work experience. The credit crunch, we had a credit crunch here, the economy broke down and there was basically no jobs. So I had a very poor portfolio and there was no jobs on the go. So I said, rather than waste a year working a dead-end job and not getting any experience, I'll do something that interests me to help with my studies. So I took a small course, a short course in a local college, which was about 3D design and model making. And I kind of expected going in there that I would learn a lot about building tiny houses and tiny buildings. As part of the architecture course, you were expected to do in-depth drawings and analysis of buildings. You were taught how to do all this sort of stuff, but you were also expected to make a model, but you weren't given any education as to how best to make a model. There was no classes, and it generally was an afterthought. You do it the night before presentation. But I really liked making the models. And I kind of felt that I wanted to know more about that. I felt that my presentation skills were a lot stronger in model form than they were in drawing form. So I did a short course, and that course sort of opened my eyes as to what you can actually make. I was so used to making tiny buildings, and it just introduced you to all the other options that are out there. And one of those options was props. So one of our projects that we were assigned to do was to make a prop for a theater show, and it could be any sort of prop, but it was like a theater type prop from a movie. I think that's the sort of the definition they give us. So I chose to make the reverse bear trap from the Saw movie. Let's see if I can get that up. I don't know if you're all familiar with it. Great movie, great props. And that was my first prop piece. It was a great prop piece to work on because it's basically just sort of old and rusted and decayed, and it's made up of bits of springs and cogs and metal and bolts. There's no real accuracy to it. It just kind of looks a bit cruddy. So I made that. Let's see if I can get a photo up here. So I'm going really slow. I'm hoping my internet isn't going to crash. We've not been having the best internet reception here today. So let me see. Here's a picture of it. Share. There we go. So I hope you can see that. Yeah, so that was my first prop piece that I made. During the time that I was doing a little bit of research for this project, I came across a website which most of you will probably know of, which is the RPF, the Replica Prop Forum. And I could not believe the amount of information, the amount of people that were building and making amazing things, the level of detail they went into. People were selling, people were, making a career of it. And that really inspired me. I spent a lot of time from that moment on the RPF, researching, commenting, looking at all the things that people were making, and it really inspired me. It made what I enjoyed doing really exciting again. I didn't realize there was so many people out there who shared the same sort of enthusiasm and passion for making stuff. So that kind of really spurred me on. This Saw mask actually got stolen. before I got to finish. That picture I showed you, all those pictures are available on my Flickr account, by the way. If you search for Sorenzo on the Flickr.com page, you'll be able to find most of my work. It's a little bit out of date at the moment. I need to update some of the work there, but some of my older stuff that you might be not so familiar with that I might talk about tonight will be featured there. So yeah, this piece got stolen before I got to finish it, which was kind of a compliment that somebody liked my work that much that they would steal it, but it also really pissed me off because I really liked it. And it's still one of my most popular blog posts. It's not even the oldest blog post, and it's still the most popular one. A lot of positive feedback, and I've been so tempted to make a new version of it if only I could find the time. But yeah, so it kind of got me hooked at that point. It was a whole new world that opened up, and I kept on sort of making little bits and pieces and thinking about it and doing research and, you know, going on the forum every night, seeing what other people were making. And then it came to a time to make a decision as to what I was going to do in my future. Was I going to go back to university? Was I going to drop out? And like I said, I hated university. It really had sucked the soul out of me. But the year doing this model making course, I was working part-time, so I was able to, you know, fund myself. The year doing the model making really sort of, you know, got me motivated, and I decided to sort of postpone university, made the smart move and postponed it just in case I made the wrong decision. And I went back and did another year at the model making course. For the second year there, we had to spend a large portion of the year working on our end of year show. It's like a graduation year, so you need to do one big spectacular piece to show all the skills that you had learned during your 2 years there. And for years, I had this idea in my head that I wanted to make Daft Punk helmets. I thought about so many Halloweens in the years before that, probably going back 5, maybe beyond 2007 after I saw them live. At 2007 when I saw them live here in Scotland. I said I need to make Daft Punk helmets at some point, and I never thought it'd be possible. I never really looked into it, but naturally at that time, Harrison Cricks over at Thom Props, he had finished his Guy Manuel helmet, and he was most of the way through his Thomas helmet. And I thought to myself, I've got 3-4 months to work on a project. The college are supplying most of the materials, and I have this huge workshop that I can do almost anything, so why not build a Daft Punk helmet? The Tron Legacy movie had just come out, so there was 2 new Daft Punk helmets. So I said, why not make 1 helmet? Why don't I make 2 helmets? Why don't I make 3 helmets? What's the worst that could happen? So yeah, I started working on a Guy Manuel, the sort of human after all encore version. I started working on the Guy Manuel Tron Legacy at the time, as it was. Version, which is a newer updated version, and then I started working on the Thomas helmet as well. The main difference in the Thomas helmet over the years has been the earpieces, so I could potentially kill 4 birds with 3 stones. So I started working on that. I never really had an idea of where I was going with it, to be perfectly honest. I just thought that if I start making these, at some point in the future I'll get them finished, and maybe somebody might buy a cast off me. I'd seen people selling stuff in the junkyard on the Replica Prop forum, and I thought I might get a few quid from it. But at that point, I'd never had any intention of it being a business. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I just really wanted Daft Punk helmets. So I started working on those. As expected, I knew I'd never get them finished. So for the end of year show, I worked towards getting them all to a sort of presentable level. So I painted them gloss white and just had them on a plinth, and they looked fantastic. I think there's some pictures on my Flickr account and possibly on my Facebook as well. I think there's an album in there with some pretty pictures. And then I left college and I had some threads up in the RPF. People were showing a little bit of interest. Daft Punk was quite huge at that point. Harrison at Thom Props had done a lot of good. People were excited about it, so there was a lot of feedback, a lot of positive feedback. And I saved up my money, I bought some silicone, and I started making some casts, and some people started buying the casts, and that sort of, you know, spurred me on. So it was all pretty exciting. So I left college, had 3 half-completed Daft Punk helmets. And for some reason, I decided to quit my job because it was really, really getting me down. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. I was sort of looking around for different jobs, potentially leaving Scotland to go down to England to follow work. And a friend suggested to me, why wouldn't I go self-employed trying to make and sell props? I thought that that was the most ridiculous idea I'd ever heard in my life. And then I was told that there was all sorts of support and grants and organizations that would help you find funding, find grants, get your business up and running. I kind of just thought, well, what's the worst that could happen? So I went and spoke to a few people, and they thought it was a good idea. I spent a couple of months writing a business plan, working out different ways that I was going to start generating income, and what I was going to work up to. It was all pretty exciting. I had no idea. I was making up as I went along. Everything that I was writing down didn't really make a lot of sense, but I was positive about it because I was doing something that I enjoyed. I thought, it can't possibly fail if I really work hard at it and enjoy it. So it was during that time that a friend of mine, he saw my work on Facebook, and he said it was cool, and he said that I should come check out his workshop. And he makes musical whistles, really high precision musical whistles that he spent the last 15 years perfecting. He's a really talented instrument maker. So he said, come up to the workshop. There's guys here making all sorts of crazy models, and they might be able to throw some work your way. So I arrived up at his workshop and walked into this amazing place with a fully kitted out workshop downstairs, office space upstairs, and sat down with a couple of guys who run a company called 4C Design. I've posted about some of their work in the past on my page. And yeah, they pretty much had a chat with me and asked me to do a small little model making job, making quite a large display piece. And I made that over the space of a week, and I nailed it. It was awesome. And after that, they asked me what I was doing for the next 3 months, and they hired me to work with them, making a few bits and pieces, but primarily extending the workshop and doubling the size of the workshop. So after 3 months of hard work of just basically grafting, knocking down walls, rearranging tools and equipment, building benches and painting floors and walls, I said that, didn't I? They had a huge workshop that was kind of empty, and I had just started off a prop making business. So I said, hey, can I move in? And in the blink of an eye, I find myself with a fully equipped studio, with office space, with a coffee machine and a water cooler, and it was all pretty crazy, pretty professional. All my funding came through, and I was officially in business, and that was kind of where Sorenzo Props was born, and that was about 2-3 years ago, I think. Yeah, crazy, absolute craziness. I just celebrated. I had a party a couple of months ago now, where I celebrated 2 years in business. So I think on the 1st of April I started my business, April Fool's Day, because I still think I'm an idiot for doing it. But yeah, so that's enough for now. I mentioned earlier on that feel free to ask some questions during this, because it'd be quite boring if it's just me yammering on for an hour every week. So a few people have already messaged sending some questions through the Q&A app on Google Hangout and through Facebook. Let me check Facebook and see is there anything else, but I think I might answer a quick wee question here, which will help with the flow of my story, the Sorenzo Props story behind the props. So no new questions. Let me see. Okay, so this question has been asked quite a lot, and I don't know if I've ever actually answered it because it's a really, really dull story, but we better answer that question. So where does Sorenzo come from? I had forgotten for the longest time where Sorenzo came from, and it came back to me a year or two ago. Basically, during my time in Australia, traveling around, I met this group of guys who were in a band, and I kind of went and partied with them for a couple of weeks, and they were great fun. And during that time, they used the name Sorenzo. Now, I cannot remember if Sorenzo was an abusive term, or if it was a term of endearment, or if it was both. But I know that they threw this name around back and forth. They had a good old giggle. I didn't really get the origin of it. I know one of them had a hat made up that said Sorenzo, but pretty much being 19 years old and very impressionable and drunk, I thought it was pretty damn cool. So I think once I got back to Ireland after my travels, my email address got hacked or got closed down or something like that. So I needed a new email. So I made an email, Sorenzo@Yahoo. And then I kept that email. I still got that email address. Every time I joined a group, every time I joined a forum, it would ask for a username. So I used Sorenzo. When I joined the RPF, it asked for a username. I used Sorenzo. And when I started a business, I stuck with Sorenzo. So yeah, sorry to let you down with that really, really dull story of the origin of Sorenzo. I probably should have made something up, something really cool, like it's my middle name or something. See, I couldn't think of a cool story, so it's a good job that I didn't. So yeah, what was I talking about last? So yeah, moved into the workshop. So yeah, I've got a little workshop, well, I say a little, like quite a big workshop here in Glasgow City in Scotland. I share it with a number of other companies, which is why we have such amazing facilities. I'll probably do a video at some point and just sort of give you a guided tour of what we've got and who's here, because it might make an interesting short movie. So yeah, it's from my company called 4C Design, who are a product design engineering company. They make all sorts of crazy, weird, and wonderful things. Like some of the stuff is so bizarre, I can't usually talk about a lot of it, but you should definitely check out their website if you're interested in cool products and nifty innovations. So I think their website is 4cdesign.co.uk or .com even, but if you Google 4C Design, you will find them. So that's the number 4 and the letter C. And they've been here for the last 10 years or more, I think, and their whole attitude is to build a workshop. They like building things. They like, you know, putting things together, putting ideas and concepts and prototypes together. So they've built a workshop full of materials, full of tools, full of equipment, so that if they've got a crazy idea, if they want to make something, they can just run downstairs and quickly put it together, and just, even if it's just a concept model stuck together with some duct tape and a few bolts. So that's the sort of ethos of their workshop, which is great for someone like me, because that means there's all sorts of bits and pieces on hand. They've got all sorts of power tools that would take me years to accumulate. They've got some huge power tools like the big CNC machine that I created my Red Hood mask on. I've learned so much from being here, because not only do we get, you know, shared workspace, but we get to share the equipment, we get to share experiences. Everybody here has a totally different background, but we all have different knowledge on things, and everybody's willing to lend a hand. So being surrounded by that means that productivity can be through the roof. You know, we really can do great things. And if I'm stuck in a problem, I've got a couple of guys I can go talk to, and naturally, if they're stuck in a problem, they can ask me for my opinion. We help each other out. We've got, I mentioned earlier, Misha is a whistle designer, MK Music. So if you're into playing musical whistles, you should check him out. We've got Sorley McDonald, who is a graphic designer, photographer. He's done some of my photography work. He's also done my awesome branding. The Rick James, which you'll have seen if you're on my page. And then we've got, who else we've got? We've got Marine Design International, who basically are naval architects, consultants. So yeah, it's a weird bunch of folk, but we all get along, and it's a fun place to come to. You know, it's not a chore coming in here. I know that I'm going to get to hang out with awesome people, and we can have some fun. And we're always looking for an excuse to blow something up or to go dick around on our bikes for half an hour. So yeah, it's really. It's a really nice environment to be in, and I don't think, although I'm paying through the nose for it, I don't think I would have been successful with Sorenzo Props if I hadn't have been surrounded in this place and been surrounded by such amazing people who are not only supportive, but, you know, have helped me along. So yeah, I think that was one of my biggest tips, is to surround yourself with like-minded people who want to do positive things, and you can't fail. Leading on, we've got a question which kind of ties in with this. This is from Marty. Marty, I think, has been a long time follower of Sorenzo Props. So he brought up a few questions. So feel free to add some questions in if you would like. I'll just open up and see if there are any new questions. Oh, there's some people watching. Why? Hi, Mom. So no new questions yet. Oh well. Well, if anybody wants to ask a question, feel free. But Marty has asked a question, and okay. So you said in the "Don't Say Fuck or Bugger" video that you started a replica prop business without any props to sell. How did you go about getting to the point where people were coming to you with commissions? Yeah. So Marty's referring to the "Don't Say or video, which was a beautiful mini documentary that an amazing guy called Callum Bannister made for me. I think it was a year ago, maybe more. It's on my YouTube channel, so go check that out. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the rest of my videos. They're pretty sweet. But yeah, it's called Don't. Oh, I can swear, can I? It's my show. Yeah, Don't Say Fuck or Bugger is what you're what you're not supposed to say in front of the cameras, which I tend to say quite a lot. But yeah, it's a really nice video that he made, just sort of giving an insight to my work and the workshop and my environment. And yeah, I think I was quoted in saying that I started a prop business with nothing to sell, which is quite true. Like I mentioned earlier, I came out of college with 3 half-finished Daft Punk helmets, and then straight away set up a business selling props and replicas. So it really was a bloody stupid idea. I don't know how I talked myself into it. I think I just did not want to get a real job. I was sick of the rat race. So how did I get to the point where people were coming to me with commissions? Well, first off, I started building like crazy. I built as much as I could. I started building smaller pieces that I could do pretty quickly. I started tracking down commissions. I was on the RPF, the Replica Prop Forum, day and night looking for new jobs. They had a section there, people wanting to buy, people looking to commission. So I was always trying to chase up new commissions through there. And I started making a few things off my own back, things that I liked that I thought might get some people interested in my work and what I do. So I basically started building a portfolio. Again, you can check out my Flickr page. I'm sure it's just /Sorenzo or Sorenzo Props, but if you do a search for Sorenzo Flickr, you'll find it, and it's got some of my older stuff. Let me just pop that up. So yeah, I just started building smaller pieces that I thought would be pretty cool. So let me share this. Let me see how do I share it. There we go. So yeah, it's not up to date by any means. The Daft Punk stuff is so far behind, and there's a few new bits and pieces that need to go in there. But I started building a portfolio, doing smaller pieces that I could get done a lot quicker. I made a Prometheus data cube, which took me like a day and a half to make. I started making the Sword of Omens, a dagger version. I managed to secure a commission to make a Mass Effect gun. Mass Effect was really popular at that time, and I really wanted to make a gun. So I basically made the Talon M358 heavy pistol, and I basically did it really cheap because I wanted to do some Mass Effect stuff. And yeah, I was doing a little bit of work on the side, making other models that were not related to the prop world, so I was getting a little bit of income coming in. But basically, I just spent all my time making stuff. It's the only way that you're going to build a body of work that people are going to be impressed with. You're not going to get noticed unless you're doing something. So building smaller pieces, trying to get the Daft Punk helmets, which I always knew would be a long-term thing, and I'm still not done with them, as much as I hate that. I entered a competition in the RPF. I did a sculpture. I did Judge Death from the 2000 AD world. Just doing little things. Halloween, I did my Night of the Living Disco Zombies, where I created a zombified Daft Punk helmet, and then I created a sort of setting and did an amazing photo shoot and made a quick video. So doing things to get noticed that would draw people to my page, or draw people to my work, while also displaying a body of work that, you know, showed the skills and abilities that I had, trying to instill some confidence in people. And that's kind of how I went about doing it. It was a long struggle. It's one of the hardest things about going into business. It doesn't really matter how good you are or how hard you work if people don't see it and aren't excited by it. they're not going to click the like, they're not going to come and commission you. So I found that 50% of my time is done downstairs working on the prop pieces, but the other 50% is actually doing this sort of thing, going on Twitter, going on Facebook. I get slagged off in my office here for spending so much time on Facebook, but it's a vital part of it. You need to communicate with people. When I first started, Sorenzo Props was anonymous. I didn't have my name or my face attached. It was just Sorenzo, and that was it. And I kind of thought that I would keep it that way, but I quickly learned that people needed someone to relate to. They needed to not only like my work, but to like me and my personality. So I started displaying that more, and it was a good thing, because since then, my popularity has increased. I like to think now that I've got a bit of a relationship with a lot of my fans. I talk to them on a regular basis, and they comment and give support and advice and stuff like that, and it's really quite nice. So yeah, I wouldn't advise anybody starts a prop business without any props to sell. But if you are, that's the way you're going to have to go about doing it. Try to find a way of making money any way you can, and keep building, keep making stuff, keep putting stuff out. And it's something that I still do now. I still take on smaller personal builds, just to do something different, look for something exciting. So yeah, that's that. Thanks for that question, Mario. That was really good. What else? Has any questions coming yet? No one's asking any questions. Oh, there's nobody viewing. So, oh, 2 people. Woohoo! Let's check on the Facebook. I'm pretty sure one came in earlier on today. Let's see what's available. Nope, 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 nope. Never got any questions. Ah, here we go. So, Matt asked on Facebook, he said, I'm serious, he really did say this. Sorenzo, you are truly amazing at producing high quality props. Oh, gee shucks. What are your big goals in your professional career as a prop maker? Well, thanks for that, Matt. That's really nice of you to say. Big goals. Wow. Well, like I said, I never actually set out to be a professional prop replica artist, or whatever my official job title is. I'm still kind of making it up as I go along. But what would I like to happen in the future? I think I would like the next stage to do more corporate gigs. I think I would like to work some of the bigger companies, particularly video game industry, doing more bigger pieces, doing official pieces for displays at expos. A lot of people are doing this professionally, especially in the States. People like Bill at Punished Props and Harrison at Vulpin have now moved on to the sort of corporate world, working for independent video games and mainstream video games, making awesome weapons and display pieces, trophies, all sorts. So I think that will be my next step. A lot of the stuff that I make is really nice, but it takes a long time to make and costs a lot of money and materials, and I have to charge accordingly. I need to pay my rent here in the workshop, my rent at home to look after my cat. So unfortunately, these things can run quite expensive, and the normal everyday person doesn't generally have a couple of £100 or a couple of £1,000 in the case of the Daft Punk helmets. So getting somebody or organization with the money to pay to do the big crazy things would be awesome. I'm not particularly interested in working with in movies, not Hollywood anyway. I think there's the only way you kind of go in there is just working for a company, and I think now that I've run my own business, I think it'd be very hard to work for somebody else. But definitely doing movie related stuff would be awesome. I've done a little bit of sort of some low budget short movies here for some independent movie makers in Scotland. Some of this work is getting released in the coming weeks, I think, maybe October. So that's really quite interesting. all quite low budget, a lot of phone bills, bodging stuff together with bits and pieces from the pound store. But it was really quite a fun, quick, exciting build, and I'm doing more work with them in the future for a couple of other short movies. So it's nothing huge, but it's looking like it could turn into quite a regular thing, and I would like to continue doing these pieces. So yeah, so corporate gigs and maybe some movie stuff. What else? Staff. Yeah, I know it will probably be the biggest headache that I ever have, but it would be really nice to have some people do some of the work for me and give me just the occasional weekend off. I don't want many weekends off. I get bored at the weekend, so maybe one every month, every 6 weeks would be nice. But yeah, most of you know about Props, Jen, who interned with me for the summer, and that was a really amazing experience to have somebody in the workshop working with me, alongside me, for me, doing different bits and pieces was quite an experience. Getting to sort of, you know, learn from her, but also to teach her some of the things that I've learned about, you know, the day-to-day of running a business. Got her to do some stuff for the party. You can see behind me that I've got the Aku mask from Crash Bandicoot on display. I'm just prepping that to take home so I can put it on my living room wall. But that's a quick little piece that me and Props put together. And it was really nice. It was really nice having somebody there. I didn't get her to make tea all the time. In fact, I think I made her more tea than she made me. But I do think that I would like to work up to having a team working on pieces. And I think the ultimate goal would be to have my own studio. Don't get me wrong, I love my studio here. I love my workshop, and I love the people that I work alongside with. But I would like to think that at some point down the road, maybe not for 5 or 10 or 20 years even, that I would progress into my own workshop that was entirely my own, all my own tools, all my own equipment, with my own staff. But we never know what's around the next corner. You just don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully I can just stay in business for a couple more years and be happy and make some cool things. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for that, Matt. That was a great question. Really got me thinking there. Let's have a wee look. Anybody got any questions? Oh, well, that's okay. 3 viewers now. Hey guys, thanks for watching. So like I mentioned, this will all be streamed directly to YouTube as soon as it finishes. So if you've missed some and you want to watch the rest of it, you can check it out on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've not done many videos in the past wee while, but I will be doing a lot more, because it seems like the internet is all about videos now. We're getting fed up of kitten pictures, aren't we? So videos are the way forward. And I'm hoping to do a lot more like this with the Q&A sessions, but also I want to do some more sort of tips and tricks of the business. Quite often it's hard to find simple tricks and tips, time saving and energy saving tips that people like me take for granted that other people might not know about. So I want to do some short movies about that as well. Finding the time is difficult. So let's take another question. Who's been asking questions? Marty asked a couple of questions. Yeah, this is a nice one. I like this one. You have said that you enjoy trying different build methods as you work on projects. Of those you have, of those you have tried, do you find any easier than others, more fun or accurate? Okay. Yeah. Well, the only way you learn is by doing stuff. So you need to just get in there and start building. I do like to try and experiment as much as possible, as long as I don't sacrifice the commission. So I try not to put myself under any hugely tight deadline, so that if something goes wrong, I'm not going to be under severe amounts of pressure. But yeah, I do like trying different things. Do I find any easier than others? Well, yeah, it depends on what you're working with, really. Some stuff is really is really not difficult, but time consuming. But the results, I recently just started doing matrix molds. So a matrix mold is a cavity pour mold. So traditionally I have been doing a brush up mold, which is basically creating a masterpiece, and you paint on a layers and layers and layers of silicon. And then you put over that a hard outer shell, which keeps the silicon in shape, and then you can do your hollow castings, which has been quite successful. But the thickness of the silicon tends to change, and that can lead to weak spots in the silicon, which can lead to imperfections in your casting. So I made the move on to matrix molding. Very daunting at first, but it turned out to be just rather time consuming, but the results were impeccable. So with matrix molding, what you do is instead of brushing the silicon directly onto your piece, you coat the piece with a layer of clay. And what you do is you create a grid form on the clay, so that will register to the hard outer. You then cover the clay with your hard outer shell using fiberglass or plastic paste or something like that. And then you open up the hard outer shell and you remove all the clay, and that leaves a cavity around your piece. And then you can fill that cavity with silicon, and it gives you a nice even thickness of silicon the whole way through. I don't think I'll ever go back to a brush up mold now. Maybe if I'm under pressure for time, but definitely matrix mold is the way forward, and it's something that, you know, it's a lot more time consuming, not more difficult. There's a lot more preparation involved. When it comes to general run of things, well, yeah, you know, I like to make casts. I like to make very accurate, very precise casts, and then make molds, and then create duplicates, copies from that. I don't do a lot of foam work. Foam work is very, very quick and very easy to put something together. I will be doing a lot more foam work in the future, but again, you can only get so accurate when you're working with foam, whereas when you're working with a cast and molding, you can spend a lot more time getting it really, really precise, a lot more robust and rigid. So yeah, there's a lot of differences. Foam building is, everything we do is fun, but the foam building, it would be a little bit more fun because it's quicker. It's quicker to get to the end goal. You can make a space gun or a helmet in a couple of days as opposed to, you know, a couple of weeks if you're making a mold in a cast. So yeah, that was a nice question. And to follow on from that, if this is Marty again, thanks Marty, all the questions. I'd be dead in the water without you. Oh wow, a question came in. Amazing. Yay. All right, Stephanie, we'll get to you in a second. So this is Marty again. If a commission involves a process with which you have no experience, do you prefer to research the process or dive right in and figure it out through trial and error? Provided that the trial and error will not cost you too much time and money. It's a little bit of both, I think. You need to, unfortunately, you do have to at least glance over the instruction manual. I know men in particular don't really like to read instructions from page to page, but I think it does help. So I think it's a little bit of both. Products in particular generally have different working methods, and if you're going for a different supplier or a different product or a different brand, you do need to do a little bit of research and figure out what works best. Different materials react differently, so you don't want to spend a long time making something and then have it to react and to go bad and to ruin your master, to ruin your mold. So you do need to do a little bit of research before you dive right in, but ultimately the only way that you do learn is by getting your hands dirty and making it. And unfortunately, you do make mistakes, and they generally do cost money. But I've come to accept now that that's just part of this job. You can't get it right all the time. I just hope and pray that the mistakes I make in the future are early on and don't cost me a lot of money. There are some things that have cost me a lot of money and will cost me a lot of money in the future, but it's just part of the job. You just got to go with it. But yeah, a little bit of both, a little bit of research to get a basic understanding for it, and then jump right in, get your products out, get your techniques on the go, and see what happens. So yeah, cheers for that, Marty. So we have the question. Somebody's actually watching, not just my mum. Hi, Mom, by the way. I'm not sure if I said hello yet. So this is from Stephanie Emma. Thanks, Stephanie. Thom, what are your thoughts of 3D printers. Have you tried it? Do you think 3D props are a shortcut to actual hand-on building? Tony, okay. Oh, it's from Tony. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Tony. It's not from Stephanie. You must be using someone else's account. So 3D printers. I have done quite a bit of work with 3D printers, not for Sorenzo Props, for other pieces that I've done outside of Sorenzo Props. But yeah, they definitely have a place in this world. The technology is it's breathtaking what you can actually do. The pieces that you can create, the internal structures that you can make, it's mind-blowing, and they've come so far in such a short period of time. They're now getting a lot more affordable. There's so many companies out there that are doing pieces, send them in the CAD work, and they'll print it up in a whole host of materials. So there definitely is a place for them. There are some things that you just can't make by hand, and that is the long and the short of it. You know, there are some things that would be impossible to make by hand. 3D printing has now gone into the realm of laser sintering with metals, creating all sorts of fantastic structures with metals. Houses are being built with 3D printers. It's insane, using concrete. There definitely is a place for them. Will they ever eradicate people like me who tend to, you know, get bits and pieces and stick them together and make something pretty? I don't think so. I think you're always going to have that element of hands-on building. There's also, you know, personal preference. For me, I can do 3D CAD. I'm not very good at it, but I can get by. I do enough, and I have people that can do CAD for me if I need something more complex. I don't want to be really good at CAD. I want to be down in the workshop covered in sawdust and paint and stuff, actually physically making something with my hands, and that's the way I want to work and will continue to work. Will I use 3D printing in the future? Yes, there are some parts that I could very quickly do a simple CAD model, send it off to a company in Belgium, and within a couple of days they sent my part back to me, and all I need to do is sand and paint it. So it's getting the balance right. But there's always going to be that divide. I think there will always be that divide. So yeah, I'm interested to see what will happen in the future, how far the technology will go. I'm going to be doing some work outside Sorenzo Props, doing some finishing to some 3D pieces I can't talk about, but the detail in them is incredible. But there's still that element of hand sanding that has to be done. It can only be done by hand. So there's an awful lot of prep work after it. But again, these shapes that they can create would just take months to create by hand, if at all. So there's definitely a place for them. So thanks for that, Tony. I'm going to email Tony tomorrow because his helmet is just about ready, and I'm sure he's going to be very excited about that because he's been waiting quite a while for it, which I'm sad to say. But we're going to get that finished hopefully next week. Everything's ready to be painted, and he needs to confirm some paint samples for me. So I'll be emailing you later on tomorrow about that, Tony. So where does that stand? Do we have any more questions? I can't believe that the hour has actually flown in already. I genuinely didn't think that I'd be able to fill an hour of just talking about me, which has been quite nice, quite enjoyable. And I hope those people who have been watching for a wee while have enjoyed it also. It seems to have been a steady 2 viewers. 2/3 viewers. So thanks for tuning in. No more questions. That's a shame. Oh well. Let me have a look at my notes and see if there's anything else that I missed. I prepared some notes for this today because I didn't want to just yammer on. I wanted to have a little bit of a flow. What could we do? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I covered all that. I left college, quit my job, rented some space. Amazing. Where did my name come? That's really boring, but now you know. Questions. There we go. I think I've answered all the questions. Yeah, all the questions are done. So what we got? We've got 10 minutes. Let's try and fill 10 minutes out. I need another drink. What does the future hold? So at the moment, I'm in a little bit of a state of flux. I'm going to be finishing off, as I said earlier, the Duke Fleed helmet. which is sitting on my bench, ready to be painted. So I'm going to take my time painting that one because I want to make sure it is perfect. We've got the baby Groot and the dancing Groot that J Props did an amazing job sculpting. I'm currently offering kits, so resin castings of baby Groot. So if you're interested, you should check out my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Sorenzo Props, and you should find a link, a couple of links down, some information about how you can get your hands on baby Groot. I'm going to be finishing off my version. I've been modifying the sculpt a little bit, adding a few bits and pieces, and I'm going to be painting that over the next couple of days. What else is going to happen? I'm securing a little quick, well not quick, but a foam build helmet that I'm going to do that I spoke about a wee while ago. If there's any fans of the comic book saga out there, I will be making the helmet. I might actually make two, might make one for me, from Prince Robot 4 or IV, depending how you want to say it, which is quite a neat little costume that Cassidy is commissioning me to make. What else am I going to start? I'm finally going to get the Days of Future Past Magneto helmet machined and molded. That's a little personal project because I think that helmet looks sweet. So I want to get that done. I finished up the Wolverine claws. I'm hoping to get some photographs of them up over the weekend. And I think where are we at? Yep. So October I will be back on some Daft Punk stuff. So there was a little bit of setback with some of the Daft Punk stuff. Things didn't go the right way with the Guy Manuel helmet, and I needed to take some time away from it, just so that I could finish off some business here and basically take a break because it was consuming my life. So yeah, Guy Manuel is going to be back on the bench in October. I'll be remodeling Thomas as well. And I'll be working towards getting the final helmets finished for my collection. I need to do the Tron Legacy versions. I need to do the Grammy versions if I can be bothered. I'm not sure if I like them enough to work on that. And I need to finish off the Guy Manuel Discovery era with the full 14x35 scrolling bicolor LED matrix, which I don't think anybody else has done yet. So we spent a long time working with my good friend Alistair Carmichael, who's electronics whiz kid. So we've got that. I think it's about 90% finished. The next problem is getting all that technology into the helmet and making it stay there. So that's my next task. So that's what October holds. I'm going to be going down to MCM in London for the MCM Comic Con. I will be cosplaying. I'll be building a new cosplay for that, which I'm keeping secret for now. It's a little tribute that I want to do. I've been thinking about doing it for a while. So I'm going to work on that. I might let you in on the secret in the coming weeks, but I want to get started before. And oh, here we go. Here's Tony. Awesome. Can't wait. Thanks for the update on the helmet, Tony. By the way, Stephanie is his kid's account. Okay, hacking your children's account to watch beardy dudes talk about props. Awesome. Yes, Tony, we'll get your helmet sorted out ASAP, and we're going to build some fancy shipping crates and send it over to you in Canada, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's Canada. And send that over to you. So thanks for tuning in, Tony. Great guy. So what else have I got lined up? I have not really got anything else lined up. Going to be doing some stuff out with Sorenzo Props, but nothing really exciting. But when I have some news, I will be here telling you about it. So I'm going to wrap up now because my voice is drained and it's quite late and I want to go to bed. I'm tired. And I'm sore. I fell off my bike twice this week. It's been 2 years since I fell off my bike twice in 1 week. So I want to go home and nurse my wounds. So round up. Thank you for anybody who has watched this live, and thank you for anybody who watched it after on YouTube. This is the first proper show. There have been a couple of other shows, but they were epic failures. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like to hear more. Please leave comments about what you thought about this show. Is there anything that I can do better? Is there anything else that you would like to hear about? I'll be posting on my Facebook page, so make sure you check me out there. Sorenzo Props Facebook.com/Sorenzo Props. You can get me on Twitter and Instagram. It's all Sorenzo or Sorenzo Props. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube, because there will be more coming your way. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for people watching, and until next time, the Sorenzo Props Show. Cheers, bye-bye.